Greetings, citizens of the interweb, it's Matt here from Hydro Gaming, here this week to present a new video showcasing our single-player medieval fantasy RPG that we're creating using the power of the Unreal Engine. Today's episode will cover the rework of our combat system and how it looks, feels, and plays. As we move ever closer to that demo release, we've also got to figure out how we want things to play out as you take your first steps into the world of Nightwatch, and that's exactly what we're going to be going over today. And before we start, I just want to let you know that there will be an ad for ExpressVPN partway through the video, so try not to be too scared when that pops up. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Roll the intro. As you likely saw in the previous episode, I've made some changes to the weapon trails and combat animations in Nightwatch. Before, the weapon trails were a little over the top and it made the game feel a little too cartoony. On the flip side, the animations for combat had the opposite problem. They were so restrained to the point that it made combat feel kind of tired in a way. I'm not sure if that really makes sense, but tired is the best word I could come up with for how it looked before. Anyways, we changed all of that and I think it ended up looking pretty good. But even so, I still felt like it was missing something. I wanted a visual way to showcase the damage our character was dealing out, aside from the recoil animations of enemies when they got hit. That means blood splatters on every successful hit. Truth be told, I may have gone a little overboard, but hey, I would rather have more than I need. I can always backpedal on the gratuitous amount of blood later. To create this effect, all I did was create some simple splatters in Photoshop. Truth be told, I did use a royalty-free splatter PNG from the web as a starting point, and then imported it into Unreal Engine. Then I had to create a line trace that started at the tip of the character's weapon toward the ground that would tell the game where to spawn the blood decal. This way the blood would actually follow the edge of the blade as if it were dripping off of it, rather than just popping up all over the place randomly, which I think would look really stupid. Next, on my enemy characters, I created a point on them that would spawn the blood splatter effect on impact. I didn't really bother with a special location for the spawner as that would be changing constantly. Basically, I made it so the enemy character would detect the point where the sword made contact with their bodies and save those location coordinates. Then the emitter I created would be moved to those coordinates and play the splatter effect before resetting. So think of this blood splatter as a movable sprinkler system with an on and off switch. If you leave the switch on, it just keeps spitting out blood, so it needs to be turned on and off. We can then move it where we want it and turn it on for a split second before turning it back off to create the desired effect. And that is the blood splatter system in a nutshell. In every Bethesda game since Oblivion, and maybe even before that, I'm not actually sure, they have a thing called a kill cam. It basically provides you with a super cool slow motion cinematic view of your fight ending kill. It makes big kills super satisfying, and I wanted to add one to our game. So basically the way it works is the game runs checks on our enemy's health each time they're hit. What the system is looking for is whether or not our enemy's health has hit 0, i.e. they've been killed in battle. If it hasn't, it means they're still alive and the fight continues as normal. But as soon as their health hits a value of 0 or less, the game knows that we've killed them and it triggers the kill cam. The way the kill cam works is through a node that sets the game world time dilation, basically the speed at which time moves in the game. When we kill an enemy, the game's time is slowed down to a fraction of its regular speed to create the slow motion effect. This continues for a few seconds before returning the speed back to normal to resume gameplay. The nice thing about this kill cam is that it doesn't stop your play dead in its tracks. Even while the kill cam is active, you're still in control of your character, so you can continue to fight other enemies or take cover while time has been slowed. Now I'm not sure everybody's a fan of traditional kill cams, so I do plan on adding an option in the future to disable the feature if you choose to, but that will come later on, so for now, you've got it whether you like it or not. Sorry guys. So I do have a quick question for you guys. Now that the skill system is finalized, would you guys like to see skill checks in dialogue? Like, say somebody has a powerful family sword that they want to keep in good hands, but they'll only let you have it if they're absolutely sure you can handle it. So, let's say the NPC will only give it to you if your melee combat skill is above a certain level, like level 40. I mean, I don't think that it would be overly difficult to include since the dialogue system's already done, but is it something that you guys would even want to see, or should I keep my efforts focused on quests and dungeons for now? I plan to add it into the game eventually anyways, but I guess I'm just wondering what you guys would like me to prioritize. Let me know in the comments below. Ad time.
Today's video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. So as I'm sure most of you already know, your internet service provider can see your browser activity. You know, these guys.
Dang it, guess you have to deal with our packages.
How do I avoid their prying eyes, I hear you asking? Well, that's where ExpressVPN comes in. ExpressVPN puts a stop to all their nasty spying by rerouting 100% of your network traffic through their secure encrypted servers. This works by masking your IP address, which makes it a lot harder for people like your service provider, big tech companies, and other weirdos who want to see what you're doing online to match your activity back to you and collect information on the way you browse, or the content you enjoy when using the old interweb. You know the content I'm talking about. The Star Wars sequel trilogy. You don't want your friends finding out you like those movies. Speaking of streaming, this is the thing that makes ExpressVPN a must-have. I'm willing to bet that most of you are all too aware of the fact that streaming services like Netflix have different available shows depending on your country. I myself am from Canada, but I love South Park. Unfortunately, I don't live in the UK where South Park is on Netflix. ExpressVPN unblocks restricted content, so you can just change your location and watch any show you want. They have 94 different countries to choose from, which means you can access any restricted content on the internet. So now, I can keep watching South Park. So with all that being said, I think ExpressVPN's a must-have. I myself use it all the time, and for this video, they're offering a great deal to the Hydro Gaming community. If you use my link in the description, you can sign up and get 3 months free of ExpressVPN. And a big thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's video.
Okay, so we don't really have much left to do before the demo release. Edenvale is pretty much done, save for a couple interiors and some clutter placement. Combat is done, inventory and armor systems are done, shopping and dialogue is done, the mount system, the main menu, the theme song, swimming, etc, etc. All that's left really is to finish up the first dungeon and the last bits of the quest system. So yeah, home stretch, people. Now before the demo does come out, there are a few things I want to go over. The most important thing is I don't want to overpromise and oversell and have you guys be disappointed. I value transparency so there aren't any nasty surprises when you first try the game. First and foremost, I'm a solo indie developer, so you know what that means. Yes, there are going to be a lot of bugs that I will have missed by the time the demo comes out. Luckily, we have a Discord server where you can report any bugs. Next, because I'm only one person, there aren't a million different weapons or armor sets in the game yet. Right now, there are about 5 different armor sets and maybe like 10 weapons with various ammo types. I am adding more all the time, but it does take a while, so bear with me. And most importantly, in terms of updates to the game, updates probably aren't going to be released at a lightning fast pace. As of now, I'm completely funding this project out of my own pocket, and the game is free, which means I have to go to work, so obviously that takes priority, and I can only work on the game in my free time. So basically, while I am super excited to share my work with all of you, I guess what I'm saying is don't expect the Mona Lisa. Maybe set the bar at a nice painting that's fun to mess around with. Like old Bold and Brash.
More like belongs in the trash!
But one thing I can promise is that I'm gonna try my best to put together a fun RPG for you guys to play around in, and hopefully you enjoy it. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. No developer shoutout this time as I've been a little busy and haven't gotten time to peek around on YouTube. I guess I could just shout out Hydro Gaming today, so that's what I'll do. So if you enjoyed today's video and found it informative, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and ringing the bell for notifications. All the things, basically. If you like all things video games and game development, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do. And with that being said, I look forward to showing you more of the game, and I will see you in the next episode of Nightwatch: A Journey. Hydro Gaming signing off.